All right, whenever you're ready, go ahead.
Alright, my name is Emmett, and thank you for coming to my senior project presentation. So my essential question was, what are the steps for organizing a volleyball tournament while fundraising for the Millis Food Pantry? So what I'll be talking about in this presentation is the Millis Food Pantry itself, why I chose volleyball as the subject of my project, my mentor, any fundraising I had to do, and also the tournament itself. So the Millis Food Pantry is something I've been involved with for a while, so I'll go to that next, but I just really think it's a great cause, and so I'll just quickly read what they stand for. So the Millis Food Pantry has been in continuous operation since 1991. The mission of the pantry is to provide 3 days of non-perishable food items to our clients every 2 weeks, and they're at the Church of Christ, and they rely on the residents, the church, and just any outside help to run it. So my background with the Millis Food Pantry for almost a year now, every single Saturday, I drive, because since I got my license, I drive to Roach Brothers, I pick up the donations in this food bin right here, and then I bring it to the church to give to the people. And so that used to be something that my parents did, but because I got my license, they passed that on to me. So, but I've been doing that for almost a year now, and I'll keep doing it until I go to college. And also in the past, I've done, they do annual trips to the Greater Boston Food Bank to pick up stuff for Thanksgiving. So I've done that twice before as well. Why I chose a volleyball tournament. The first reason is pretty obvious. I play on the team, and I think it's a very fun sport. And also, I have an understanding of the sport, so it's something I can do. And another reason I chose it is because if you just look outside during the school day, there's always kids out on the sand court, and I'm sure the teachers always get asked, "Can we go play volleyball?" So I know it's something that people really like to do. So I feel it was a good idea. She was my mentor, young me. Great looking guy right there. So I chose my dad as my mentor, and the reason I chose him is he's always been involved in my life for sports, and he really got me into it at a young age. So I think I was probably I was young there, and this is during a Buddy Bowl flag football tournament, and so that's something that he then passed on to me, and he's also coached me in things like flag football, soccer, pretty much everything besides volleyball, which is ironic, but so he's been involved baseball too, so he's been involved in our lives in many different aspects like that. And so he's also helped organize a lot of tournaments and stuff like that, so I figured he'd have a good concept and idea on how to basically just how to run this and communicate everything. Fundraising outside the project. So I knew from the beginning that I wanted the project, the volleyball tournament itself, to be more relaxed. I didn't want people to be paying a lot of money, so I wanted to alternate outside fundraising. So I made a GoFundMe, and it was actually a lot easier than I thought it was going to be. I thought there was going to be 1,000 steps of doing this, that, and the other thing, but it was a lot easier than I thought. And basically, I just sent that out to my parents and everybody, like my friends, and then I had them distribute it. They posted it on their Facebook, which I'm very appreciative of. And finding participants. So I knew from the beginning that I didn't want too many teams because I wanted it to be like a fast tournament and more laid back. I didn't want people to be like, "Oh, I'm gonna have to go here at this time and then go here at that time," and spread across multiple days. So at the beginning, I was looking for 4 teams. And so I first went to my friends, and I went to the volleyball program because I knew that I'd be able to get a lot of participants from that. And so I ended up getting 3 teams in the end because one of the teams had an injury, so we had to pull out, so sad. That worked out fine. So my next step was registering the teams. I made a Google form, which I've never done before. It actually was pretty complicated. I don't know why I struggled so much with it, but I struggled. And so this is just one of the things, and I sent that out to all the people that I knew that were going to be participating, and then preparing for the tournament. So the first thing I had to do was reserve the court, which I had to go to the high school. I'm sure other people have done that for their senior projects. I had to go to the high school office and get one of those reservation forms and fill that out. It's pretty straightforward, and I filled that out like 2 or 3 weeks before my actual tournament because I wanted to try to, like, the weather has been really weird this year with all like the wind, and it hasn't gotten. Now it's finally getting warmer, but it took a while for that. And another thing I had to do was get all the supplies I needed, so I brought a rake because the sand court was all still like wet and clumpy, and then obviously volleyballs, and then there's other things I had to pick up on the way, which I'll get to later. What were the obstacles? So the biggest obstacle, 20-mile-per-hour winds on the day of my tournament, which was unfortunate, but honestly I think it made it better because there'd be a ball coming at you and then it just completely drop. So it made it more interesting, and it like switched it up a little bit. And another obstacle, which was more physical, was actually raking the court. It was horrible. Hurt my back a lot because it's like you really try to like pull this like wet, batted down sand and get it all loose. But that took a while, but it was okay. So tournament time. The way I formatted it was I wanted to be unique, and that's something that my dad had helped me in the mentor reports, was think of ways for it to be unique. So the way I did that was I didn't do it based off wins and losses. I did it based off purely point differential. So I took the top 2 teams. So there was 3 teams. Every team would play each other once, and then whoever top 2 teams with the best point differential went to the championship, play each other in one game, and that's it. Winner takes all. Another thing I did to change the tournament was having 4-person teams instead of 5 or 6, because I wanted the games to go faster. I only had the games go to 15 points instead of 25. So I had the 4-person teams just to make everything a lot smoother and quicker. I have to give a shout out to the champions. Their team name was the Squaddle. You know, Matt Krause, you know him. Thomas Azier, you know him. And then those are just 2 of Tom's friends. And so the winners, they each got Dunkin' Donuts gift cards, which is one of the things that I picked up on the way. And then making sure I'm grateful. This was something that was very important to me, and I even like talked about it in my research project, research reports. And so I like researched how to fundraise outside of your actual project, and they recommended make sure you're grateful, which is something that I thought was a good idea. So every single person that donated to my GoFundMe, I wrote them a little note and sent that to them. And then also on the day of the tournament, I brought donuts for everybody, the winners and the losers, because they showed up and it was pretty cold. So I just wanted to be grateful for them. The final step, I had to transfer the money out of the GoFundMe, which it's still open, but I had to do that because I'm going to keep fundraising, which I'll get to. But the final step was transferring the money to a bank account, writing out a check, and bringing it to Elizabeth Derwin, who is one of the main people and kind of leads the food pantry, and she's very nice and does a lot for the town. So I think it's great. And then I wanted to do my thank yous. First of all, Mr. Carter, because I wasn't the best student in this senior project, I'm gonna be honest. Some people probably know my rough draft of my final report wasn't great, but I thought it was okay. He didn't. So I also wanted to thank my parents. Obviously my dad was my mentor, so I wanted to thank him a lot. And then my mom kind of helped with more of the planning and getting down to the final days. And then everyone who participated, so that's all the teams, they were very helpful, and I'm glad it was 50 degrees out and windy, so they pushed through. And then everyone else who donated to the GoFundMe, and then I also collected cash too. And then finally, I wanted to thank the Millis Food Bank, not just for this project, but also they do a lot for the town, and I think it's really great what they do. So I just wanted to thank them, and just knowing that I'll continue to keep doing every Saturday runs down to the food pantry, and I think it's a great cause. So I'm excited. Questions?